Okay, here we have some Sundstrand piston motors. We have 6 of them here. And I'm going to start with this one that looks like a fairly new one. We get these in quite a bit. These are out of a food processing plant. And I open this up. You can see the oil. It's a food grade oil because they're dealing with food. And what happens, the reason these come in is they start leaking. And this is a wash down food processing plant where everything's washed down, and what happens is they end up popping they either pop the case here with a paper gasket or the seal pops. Okay, so I'm going to take this one apart because what the factory does, they don't put any sealant or anything, and I see this gasket could be blown out. Real common, even though it's brand new. What happens, there's a control unit on these machines, and they have brakes on them to stop these things from spinning. And so the mechanics get in there not really understanding. They start turning knobs, and they get this brake so tight when this thing hits, it's got a bunch of weight, and then it slams it. And if there's any internal leakage or the motor's worn, the case is pressurized, okay, and it hits way over 20, you shouldn't go over 25 psi. Then the way this particular plant is set up, the case drain doesn't have its own line to the tank. They're putting it back into the return line, so there's a lot of pressure. And so what happens, it either blows the shaft seal out, or it blows this gasket out. So I'm just going to open this one. I have 6 of them here to show you. I want to see if that's the case where it blew that out, because what we do is, to correct that, we use a spray a gasket, seal it, Permatex, something like that, and we do that on our gaskets. And then you have to torque them down. You don't want to just hammer it with an impact. They got to be torqued evenly, and that helps. Doesn't prevent it all the way because I can't control what the mechanics are. There's like 50 of these units in there. So let's pop this apart. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this out before I take the case open and just show you. Okay, we're going to get this out here. Okay, get that snap ring out. Okay, then we're going to pull. There's a plate here. They've improved, Sundstrand's improved these. They used to have cheaper seals. And this helps. It's a high pressure seal here. Let me pop that out and show you how to get that out. And then we'll check to see if that's the case where it blew the gasket out. And what happens, because it's a wash down thing, these things just leak, and there's 50 of these units, and then they just wash it right down the drain, man. And nobody knows because you can't see the you can't see because the oil, it's a food grade oil, and so they just wash the oil right down the drain, man. I mean, so that's why, like, they got 6 of them here. They have spares. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm gonna try to put a hole in this. It's a high pressure seal. So what I'm finding now is more the gaskets are blowing out, not the shaft seal, and I'll show that to you. But to get this out, you can see I got this little screw mechanism and this hammer. It's like a metal clad. Screw that in, and then just try to pop it. Might take a couple tries. Okay, there it is. So you see how I got that out. And we'll end up changing the barrel, but I'll show you what this seal looks like. A little close up. It's heavy duty metal. See, I poked that hole in there. This thing's head. So before these things used to flare up. And then now they take this backs on there so it doesn't flare out, so it ends up blowing the gasket out of the case. That's just case pressure. And like I was telling you, it's a funky setup because the case line is supposed to have its own return line by itself, just going to tank. Well, they're putting it right back into the return line, which is not correct, but that's why we're fixing them all the time. So let's pop this thing open. Let's take a look at this gasket. Get this out of the way. Try to do this evenly to get it off here. Okay, exactly what I thought. Let me show you here. This is what happened. Why this one, it's a fairly new motor. And you can see right down here in the bottom, the gasket's gone. Okay, and this is all torn up here and even over here. So this thing did blow out. Okay, and the factory doesn't really put anything on it, just a paper gasket. But the case is, you're not supposed to exceed 25 psi, and that's what's happening. So it blew that out. We'll just go through this a little bit now. What we're going to do, this is your valve plate, okay, and we put that on the lapping table. We got a German lapping table to flatten that out. Okay, so we're going to drop the rotating group out of here. And so these two surfaces will go on the lapping table. That's where all your work's done. And you don't want to lose these little pins. I'll show you how the lapping table works. Okay, it's something you need to have. It's about a $7,500 unit. You don't use them all the time, but if you're in this type of business, you need that. So we're going to get the pistons out. And I know that this is a newer unit. Slippery here, but that's why I took this one apart first rather than one of the other ones, because I suspected that that gasket was blown. Oh, damn it. Let me get a pair of pliers. There you go. Okay, here's you're going to look at your piston shoes and all that. Just take one off, a couple and check them. You want to check this. Oh, it's tight. So this is a pretty new motor, and that's the clean. The shoes are clean. So I know and I can tell by the play in these shoes that's very good. So the main problem was the gasket blown out. Now, one real quick thing, there's another snap ring down in here. We're going to get that out. Hold on a second here. Let's see, we need a block. This is the other thing. This is what your shoes ride on, so you don't want to lose that. It's funny, there's a little rust on there, so I know they got some water in their oil. But your shoes ride on that like that. Okay, so let's get this out. You're going to change the bearing in it no matter what. Change all these bearings, and don't put Chinese bearings in them. Get the good bearings. See if this, might have to get a different snap ring plier for this because it's not going in there real good. Let me get another one. going up a straight snap ring and try to get this out. Okay. There you go. So you got that. And then what you're going to do is just boom, take that out. Now, here we go. So this is a new motor. I want you to see the rust on the seal area. There's no grooves in it, so we can polish up and look at the rust. And this bearing is very rough. Okay, it needs to be changed, even though it seems pretty new. But that'll usually polish up. In this particular plant, there's a lot of water because they wash it down twice a day. So you get this kind of thing going on here. But we'll clean that up with the new bearing. So that's all I wanted to show you. I'll show you another video on how we're going to lap the valve plates and flatten it. Both of these, and this surface rides on there on a thin oil. That's where all your work's done. So if these are all torn up, it's pretty much shot. But I'll show that in another video. Stand by.